Now, this is Unit 8, Lesson 2. Actually, what we're going to go back and look at is some of the stuff from Unit 7. So, while we were doing so well on this box method, I thought perhaps for distribution it was worth remembering that you can write these problems in the same way. So, I put x down, as it's just a single term, I just got a single box high. And then with two terms, I can put them across the top. And then you can just use the method you're used to, x times 2x, 2x squared, x times negative 1, negative 1x, and there's your answer, 2x squared minus x. Now, we can also make our question slightly more complicated as well. So if we had a trinomial times a trinomial, 3 terms by 3 terms, then I just draw a box that's 3 by 3. So this is my top term, x squared. As it's positive 2x, I didn't put the plus. As it's negative 1, I did put negative though here. And same going down the side here, x squared, I put negative 3x because it says subtract 3x. And as it was positive 4, I just wrote 4. Then you can go ahead and actually fill this grid in just as you've been doing. So when we multiply, we add the exponents, 2, and then once again we add the exponents. Remember, if there's no exponent, that means it's the power of 1. So 2 plus 1 gives us x cubed. X squared times negative 1, they're not like terms, so numbers first, letters second, and you could just put negative x squared for this. Same thing for this one, numbers first and then letters second, so x to the 1 times x squared is x cubed by adding the exponents together. We might just want to put a 1 there to remind us. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, and x times x is x squared. Negative times a negative gives me a positive, so 3 times 1 is 3, and then we just have an x on the end here. 4 times x squared is 4x squared, numbers first, letters second. 4 times 2 is 8, with an x on the end. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Now, another really cool feature about doing the grid method for this is that when it comes to simplifying, if we look along the diagonals here, all these should be like terms. So these are my x squared that I'm looking at here. And if I move on to the next diagonal, x cubes, and actually there's just a single term with x to the power of 4. So when it comes to writing our answer, we can say x to the power of 4. X cubes, I got negative 3 plus 2, which is negative 1. This time I'm not going to put the 1 in there. 4x squared, take away 6x squared, take away 1x squared, so negative 2, negative 3. Negative 3x squared. 8x and 3x, so that's positive 11x. And our last term is negative 4. So the grid method is very powerful. We can use it for answering much more complicated questions. However many terms we have in the first set of parentheses, that's how many boxes we're going to have across. How many terms in the second set of parentheses is how many boxes we get to have going downwards, and then we're going to go ahead and just multiply that. Now, one of the more complicated questions, we've got to do some multiplying here, but we've actually got 4 sets of parentheses. Now, the thing about this question that makes us able to do this at Algebra 1 is not the fact that these are the same, but the fact that these two are the same but with an opposite sign. So what I'm actually going to do first of all is I'm just going to regroup this. So instead of doing this times this times this times this, I'm going to do this times this, and then that I'm going to times by this times this. So I've just rewritten this using my commutative rule. Now to work out this, I can go ahead and do the box method. Now underneath when I reveal, I actually did this by FOIL, so we'll be able to see both x minus 2. So when I multiply here, x squared plus 2x minus 2x minus 4. And look what happens on that diagonal when we're looking for like terms here. 2x and minus 2x gives us 0x. So in other words, that cancels. So what we get left with is just x squared minus 4. Now conveniently for this question, the second one that we have to do is actually the same as the first one. So I can also put x squared minus 4, but that doesn't always have to happen. If you were to do FOIL, first, outer, inner, last, if you want to check your answer to see, make sure you agree. But the same thing, the middle two terms cancel. Negative 2x plus 2x is 0x, that just disappears. And now we're going to work out x squared minus 4 times x squared minus 4. So same thing, I'm just going to draw a box for this one. 2 terms for the top, and 2 terms going down the side. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times negative 4, numbers first, letters second. Negative 4 times x squared, negative 4x squared. Negative 4 times negative 4, positive 16. And this time, they don't cancel these two terms here, but we can combine them. Negative 4 take away 4 is negative 8. So our answer is x to the 4th minus 8x squared plus 16. And notice I put my answer in standard form. I chose the highest degree first, and then I decreased that as I went along. And I just did the same thing with FOIL, first out of inner last. You get the same 4 terms I have for my grid. And notice we finish up with exactly the same answer. Now I put your terms, so you might want to pause the video after I reveal the question to see if you can do the same thing. Or if not, you can just check to see straight away if you agree. Now the thing about this question is, notice that these two are the same sets of parentheses, except one's positive and one's negative. And actually same for the other terms, 2x and 1, 2x and 1, but one's positive and one's negative. So first of all, I want to group them like that. So I'm going to work out x plus 3 times x minus 3 as one question. I'm going to work out 2x plus 1 times 2x minus 1 as a second question. And then whatever the answer to that question is, I'm going to take the answer and multiply it by this answer. So actually I'm doing 3 FOIL questions at once here. Now this time I'm not going to draw out the grid, but I am going to show you the FOI and L. You can check if you do the box grid just to make sure that you agree with this. Once again, notice what happens to the middle 2 terms. Negative 3x plus 3x is going to cancel. Same for this one, negative 2x and 2x is going to cancel. So now I've got to work out x squared minus 9 times 4x squared minus 1. So it's just another FOIL question. I did do FOIL for this. X squared times 4x squared, 4x to the 4. X squared times negative 1, negative x squared. Negative 9 times 4x squared, negative 36x squared. And negative 9 times 1 is positive 9. Middle 2 terms are both x squared, so I can combine this. Negative 1 take away 36 is negative 37. So this is a question that is going to appear on the Unit 7 test. I know this is Unit 8 today, but just be aware of that as an additional question that you're going to need in preparation for that test.